When you think of the word Ford Raptor, I'm sure you guys think about the Ford F-150 Raptor, but today we're here to talk about a completely different Raptor, that being the 2024 Ford Ranger Raptor. And I gotta say, I think this is a beautiful car. It looks great, but let's talk about what this car is, the specs, we'll talk about the driving experience and all that fun stuff. But let's just jump right into it. My name is Trent, and you're watching God Next. So, first thing I want to talk about on this mid-sized truck is this beautiful color. This is one of my favorite colors that Ford has recently introduced. This is shelter green, and I think on trucks like this, it just looks great because on a truck like this, I don't want something that stands out. I want it to be, you know, subtle, but when you get up to it and when that sun hits it, it just pops. Chef's kiss. I think this thing looks great in the sunlight. But up here, you can see that Ford has redesigned the Ranger for this year. It's got a new front end. It's got honestly a whole new generation, but it does have that Ford, big Ford letters, just like the Ford F-150 Raptor. You've got these tow hooks down here. You just got a more aggressive front end, and this car does sit a little bit wider. You've got just the fender flares out here, so it does look beefier, looks stockier. But we come on over here towards the side of the car, you'll notice that you've got, honestly, it's a pretty simple side fly line right over here. You got some sharper angles on this truck compared to just the regular Ranger as well. Now I want to talk about these wheels. These wheels, again, standard. Honestly, you see them on the F-150 Raptors as well. It's pretty much, you see it all across all the, at least, Raptor trucks. But they look really good. They got that satin black, so it really pairs well with the color of this car. You've got the satin black arches right here as well. Another typical thing on the Rangers. Now, I do like right here, you've got this footrest, what's it called? I can't remember the exact name for it right now. You guys will probably roast me in the comments, but that's fine. But right here, it does have the words Raptor engraved into it right there. So you've got those key little marquee things on this car that just tell you what this is exactly. And of course, back here, you've got these stickers that say Raptor, just like you see on the F-150, the Broncos, and now the Ranger. It looks really good, it stands out, pops out. You see it on these super trucks a lot nowadays. But continuing on towards the back, this is where you get more of the fun stuff. You've got on the tailgate, it says Ranger across. You've got more Raptor badging, and again, you got more tow hooks back here, so you don't have to worry about getting stuff stuck. You can either help pull people out, or you can have people pull you out yourself. And you do have these dual exit exhausts. They look really good, but to be honest, they don't sound very good. You got a lot more, honestly, quieter sounds. But this is a truck. This is a 3-liter V6 engine, and this only does produce 405 horsepower, which actually, I mean, I said only, but that is a lot of horsepower for this truck, but we'll talk about that as we're driving this truck. So let's go ahead and hop right in. Hop into this truck. This truck does sit a little bit higher, so that foot rest right there, that little rock guard, honestly, it works great. It makes it a lot easier to get into this car. And the first thing I noticed when I do hop in this car, there's a lot of orange, red-orange trim. It's everywhere through the car. You've got all the air vents, you got the line on the steering wheel, the stitching in all the seats, and the steering wheel. You got the Raptor outlined in that same color right here. So that's the first thing you'll notice. It really pops, and honestly, I think it looks good. It's a quirky little thing they do with this car. But let's start this car right now, and it's not very loud, so you don't get that rumble you get from like a V8 like you see on the TRXs and stuff like that. But this is a mid-size truck. It's just a V6. But in here, you've got this massive screen in the center, which it's a little bit weird because in the other Rangers, the screen is more this way instead of vertical, and I prefer it the other way. I prefer it being more horizontal than vertical because this is just a little bit awkward. It's a lot of moving your hand up and down instead of just keeping it all centered right here. But you do have your climate control right here, which is pretty simple. You just control temperature, you control your volume right here as well. You got your fan controls, and your hazards are right here as well. Down below that, you've got a charging pad for your phone, which I haven't tested out yet, but let's see. It does fit the Pro Max versions of the iPhones. I know a lot of cars were struggling with that past couple of years where they wouldn't fit at all. You've also got USB-C mounts or USB-C ports and other USB ports right there as well. Now, continuing on with the center console of this car, you've got your standard 2 cup holders. One thing I want to talk about is this gear selector. It's a short, stubby gear selector, but honestly, it kind of feels nice in your hand. It's going to take a little bit to get used to compared to maybe some other trucks you've driven, but it's not bad. I do like it down here more than having it on the tree right there. But I think the overall design aspect of where they place things in this car, it looks really good and it's really simple. Now you do have a decent amount of storage. This isn't super deep, so don't plan on stuffing this to the brim with stuff. But let's move on to some of the more fun stuff in this car. Up here, one of my favorite things in here, I really like this. There's a window switch for this back little portion of the window. You pull it and it opens that up just with the switch, which is so much easier. I used to have a Chevy Colorado and I'd have to get out and physically open it myself. It was a pain, but I really like that, how they integrated that. You've got all these auxiliary switches up here and you got your typical sunglass holder. Now on the visor for the driver, you got your mirror like normal, but you also have these buttons so you can program it to your garage, so you can open up your garage door, and it just makes it honestly really easy, really nice to do. Here, steering wheel. The steering wheel feels great in my hands. It's thick, it's got a heated steering wheel, so this thing is actually on fire right now. And honestly, it was nice when I got into the car because it was cold outside. Your gauge cluster in here, it looks great. It's all electronic, so that's nice. I like it, and it's easy to control. You got all the buttons on here that'll control the different screens on here, and it's the standard Ford gauge cluster. There's nothing really special about it. Over here, same thing. You've got your window switches, control your mirrors, nothing crazy over here. But overall, I think Ford did a great job on the interior of this, besides the infotainment screen. I wish they would have done it the other way, but that's all right. You'll get used to it. But I think they did a good job. And since this is a mid-size truck, you don't have a ton of space. The back seats are a little bit cramped, but if you want more space, get yourself a bigger truck. Go for the F-150 Raptor. You'll get more power. Honestly, you'll have more fun with that one. But this is a good entry-level Raptor, I'd say. But let's move on to the driving portion. So driving this truck, I would say it's a good experience. It's fun. It's kind of hard to judge it because I've driven the F-150 Raptor and I've driven just the standard Rangers, and this doesn't feel like a massive upgrade compared to one of the lower trim level Rangers. It drives pretty much the same, and earlier I talked about those exhaustives back there. The engine's not loud. And for this truck, what I've noticed, you get more engine sound, and it sounds like it's coming from up here, than you get what feels like power coming out of this. It is a pretty slow truck to accelerate. I would expect that to be a little bit higher. It's got, I don't remember how much, I think it's got no, I don't want to tell you the wrong number, but it's got a good amount of torque. So I'd expect it to be honestly a little bit faster getting up to speed, but it's not terrible. And once it does kick in, it gets up speed pretty quickly. These turn signals, I honestly love just the sound that the Ford turn signals make. They make that, I don't know, it's just like I don't know if you can really hear it, but it just makes that soft little clicking sound. But driving this truck, the handling is great. It's pretty responsive. This truck does have a decent amount of roll, so you do feel it shift weight quite a bit, but it's a truck. You don't have that low center of gravity like you do on these sports cars. So it's not bad, and this thing is lifted just a smidge. It sits a little bit higher, but honestly, it's a fun truck. I could see myself driving something like this every day. It would just take getting used to, because to be honest, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not much of a Ford guy. I never really have, and I grew up with Chevys, and if I had a choice, I'd pick a Chevy over Fords, but I could see myself driving something like this. It's pretty fun, and let me know what you guys think about the Ranger Raptor. It's a new Raptor to the line, and I think it's cool what Ford's doing. I'm excited to see what they do with this later on in the future. But let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. Would you guys buy yourselves a Raptor, or would you guys like to spend your money on something else that maybe you guys would enjoy more? And if you guys do want to see more videos like this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.